These are some of the worst rally crashes in history. Let's see them together.
Are you ready to see the most insane,
Let's see it. I'm ready.
and jaw-dropping rally
I'm ready.
ever caught on camera?
Yes.
From barrel rolls, flips, and
Yep.
massive
It's a nice
shunts,
crash, you know.
These have it all. So buck up and hold on tight.
I'm ready. I'm in my chair. I'm in my car. Ready to go. Let's go.
First up was a very unlucky day for Ursula
2021.
At Rally Sleafern in 2021,
Yep.
Soiler was attacking the stage while driving down
Bez.
a very unassuming stretch of tarmac.
As you do.
What he didn't see
Part of
was
his
the
job.
huge bump in the middle of the road that was
And
about
goodbye.
to take him for the ride of his life. While driving flat out in his Skoda,
Yep.
he hit the compression and his car landed.
And he's off.
locally, instantly launching him straight off the road at cruising
Gee,
speed.
that was
He
actually a
flew through the
flip.
ditch and went down into
That's a
the
9
pit,
for me.
and
I'd
his
give that a
car
9
went
on the
straight
flip
onto
scale.
its roof in a massive impact that flipped his car over in a horrific way. It bounced
All these people survived. I will say that now. They all survived.
a crazy height into the air,
I think.
and parts of the car were ripped off as if it were a toy. The landing
part of
wasn't
it, though.
any smoother as it smashed off the ground with a massive thud.
Yeah, yeah.
with smoke billowing from the car. Spectators watched on in disbelief and feared the worst, thinking there was no way that a human could survive this wreck.
Well, that's what they're designed for,
Another
though.
ridiculous roll was courtesy of Mikko Hirvonen.
2010.
Ford Focus RS. During
In
Rally
Finland.
Finland in 2010, Hirvonen was somehow caught completely off guard by his favorite corner in WRC. While on the dangerous
How do you get caught up by your favorite corner?
dirt stage, he was driving his Focus RS fiercely on the limit, leaving nothing on the table and using every inch of road that was available.
Yeah.
But when he came to the big jump, things quickly took a turn for the worse.
His favorite corner,
He
yeah?
flicked the car into the turn and tucked the jump sideways, but when it landed, he suddenly lost control completely, and his car
Is he
was
good?
thrown in the opposite direction, straight towards the ditch.
And a
Out
tree.
of nowhere, it went airborne and flipped over in a terrifying moment for the fin. It then violently rolled over and over again, tearing pieces of bodywork off in the process. They enjoyed
That's fine.
massive hits on every possible part of the car.
That's
in a
fine.
violent
He was
display of
perfectly
rally
fine.
Car acrobatics. And it eventually came to a stop after barrel rolling almost 10 times. Surely rally crashes don't get much scarier than this.
I've seen worse.
Well, if you thought they couldn't, Adrien
2022,
Fournier
2 years
is here
ago.
to prove you wrong. This absolutely monster crash during the 2022 Monte Carlo rally is something that rally drivers and co-pilots around the world see in their nightmares. Fournier was piloting his Ford Puma Rally 1.
They love
down
driving in the snow, don't they?
Mountain pass in cold, slippery conditions, pushing it to the absolute max.
Yep.
All of a sudden, he saw his life flash before his eyes in a crash that was unlike anything ever seen before.
He just flipped just
He
like
took the
that.
corner too fast and hit the side of the mountain, instantly flipping his car airborne and onto its side.
And over the
it couldn't
guardrail.
have happened in a worse location.
Down a
because
mountain.
Straight ahead was a massive drop down the side of the mountain. His car was launched off the mountain and through a bunch of trees and tumbled at
Would the
crazy
trees have
speed
saved him or
down a
worse than
massive
it?
drop,
Monte
flipping
Carlo.
and rolling in the process. The crash was so hard that it tore his car into pieces. The roll cage was the only thing not destroyed once the car came to a stop.
Which is meant to do, so he survived.
Another man who knows about their rally
2019.
car
That's the whole point of the roll cage, the cage. Was for things like that, so it did its job.
absolutely wrecked his
Back to 2019.
During Rally Chile 2019, the Frenchman almost
Yep.
met his maker while flying
So rally drivers are either French or like Nordic, French, Sweden, that's French, Finnish, Swedish, basically.
through the fast forest in South America. Driving flat
South
out
America,
on a
what,
tight
Brazil,
stage with the
Argentina,
sun in
Chile?
your eyes is not ideal for a WRC driver.
Nope.
But this is the exact scenario Neuville found himself in. As he took a right-hand jump in his Hyundai i20,
Yep.
he underestimated how tight the corner was and smashed into the banking on the exit.
Yeah, that car
He was
just.
shocked when he lost control and his car flipped onto its roof.
This is that
driving down
crash.
the road upside down.
Mad.
Before he knew it, it started barrel rolling and he became a passenger in his own car. It violently flipped multiple times, smashing hard off the
It's the same
ground
crash,
and
you know.
banking, ripping up his car along the way. It eventually
It
came
looks
to a
fine.
stop on its side, and it was clear that the damage was massive. Neuville was lucky to be alive. But before we move on to another rally car taking flight,
Yeah.
please like this video and subscribe.
Yeah,
to
like
the
this video,
channel
please.
for more
My video.
motorsports content like this. In case one flying rally car wasn't enough for you, here's a second one. This time it was
2020
on
COVID.
Tarmac, who took off during the Monte Carlo rally. making it for one of the downright scariest rally crashes ever seen.
Yep.
He slightly misjudged a right-hand corner while driving flat out, and it pulled the car out of his hands, leaving him helpless with the speed he was carrying. Unfortunately for him,
Right, he just launched off the road.
Beside a massive drop off the mountain.
I mean, you could
He
see the
went
drop.
first off the side and made a gigantic impact with the earth, smashing his car and sending him flying through the cold mountain air. He went straight through a bunch of trees and continued to fall for hundreds of feet as he held on inside for dear life. Through all of this, his car flipped and rolled multiple times,
Yep.
taking more hits than anyone could count, before coming to rest in a crumpled ball of metal
Well, fine,
at the
though.
bottom of the mountain.
It's from the onboard, the cage. You would be able to tell there's anything's happened. They go, they just get stage done. They just climb out of the car. That's what it looks like
Not
when you're to the
finished with
outside,
flying cars
like that.
just yet. This
It's-
next crash is
yeah.
both crazy and lucky.
There's
at the
no
same
dates.
time. It doesn't get
What
much
date- what date is
closer to
this?
Driver Pietro
Well, that's
Scala
like the
was
60s.
pushing his
No,
Renault
that's like
Clio to the limits
2000s.
on the tight roads
Why
of
were you
Mexico
sitting next to the
during
road?
Jolly Rally Valle d'Aosta. These narrow passes punish the smallest of mistakes hugely,
Why are you sitting there? You're sitting on the track. You want to get run over.
and the tiniest slip-up can have massive consequences.
That car's destroyed.
This driver found this out the hard way. Pietro took the left-hander with
Yep.
too much speed and drove straight towards the grass on the outside, causing his Clio to mount the banking and take off. Suddenly, his car was hurtling out of control towards a group of spectators who were forced to think fast. In a crazy scene,
Why would you
the
sit
car
there?
went airborne and straight for the spectators. as
Well,
if
you
it was
sit on the other side if you're gonna sit on the
intended
track.
damage. After smashing into the ground, it flipped and rolled right into the middle of the crowd. Miraculously, nobody was
How
injured
avoid
in
everyone
this
is-
crash,
yeah.
and it remains one of the luckiest moments in rally
Definitely.
history.
That bounced
For
one
more
direction,
returns
two
for
right.
this next crash.
That bounced one way, a different direction. That would have been catastrophic.
This
But it's
time
not, so
with
it's
his
fine.
Crazy smash in Belgium in
2021. I said it
He was
first.
in his Ford Puma Rally 1.
Yep,
threading
Ford.
it through the tight
Oh, it's
corners
Fords,
of
man. See, the Fords are
Belgian
Clios.
countryside when disaster struck.
It's actually kind of weird when you think of like all these, right? When you think of racing, like all these high, these high aerodynamic performing cars, all these, high, engineering, this, piece by piece, millimeter by millimeter. And then here on rally, you just got your standard Clio and your standard Peugeots, like your standard Renaults, and your classic, typical first cars for normal human beings.
He clipped the
With a
outside
spoiler on it.
banking, and it wrecked the rear end of his
And the
car
Red Bull
on
logo.
impact, firing it into the air. The car spun around and instantly rolled in an extremely
Yep.
violent snap, sending debris everywhere. It continued to spin and smash the ground in every way
It's not a cheese.
imaginable. And before Formaux and his co-pilot knew it, they were heading towards an electricity pole. They smashed off it hard and eventually came to a stop. The in-car camera
They were
was
lucky that they just
terrifying,
brushed the pole
and
or
it showed the
head on into the
insane
pole.
speed that they were carrying when they crashed.
That's a headache and a half. That's a bad migraine for the next day.
Neuville is back
He's
again
back!
with this outrageous
2014!
goal from 2014.
Deutschland.
This crash was
Jean
one of the
Mani.
scariest and most spectacular.
You're gonna go fly into the
in history.
houses.
It occurred on the
Imagine you're just waking up, looking out the window. What's going on? You just see a rally car dart towards your window.
shakedown stage before the start of the rally, when Neuville was pushing hard to get familiar with his new Hyundai i20. All of a sudden, he lost control on an
It's a bench,
extremely
a random
fast
bench.
corner, and his
What kind
car
of bench is that? Why is it just
rolled
a
into
bench? That's not a
massive
seating
It
just
rolled
there.
through the field 6 times before coming to a stop. In
What
a
field?
crash that looks like it came straight out of a video game. The onboard camera gives a sense of the terror from within the car and shows how bad the crash truly was. Ken Block was
They got
best
fine,
known
though.
for his incredible car control from
Rest
his
in peace.
famous Gymkhana video series.
R.I.P..
His ability to push his car to the limits was incredible and demanded respect.
Yeah, it did.
However, everyone makes mistakes, and Ken made one in 2011
2011.
that resulted in this monster crash at Rally Portugal. Block was driving his Ford Fiesta RS WRC on a dirt stage with very little grip.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, disaster struck. He smashed into the banking, and it fired his car into the air, twisting him sideways at the same time. He was launched onto his roof, and
A lot of
the
them
car
are just
smashed falling
hitting-
off the ground
A lot of them are just hitting bankings and just flipping in the air. That's basically what all these crashes
out
are.
of nowhere. The speed at which it rolled while airborne was both incredible and terrifying at the same time, and the impact when it landed again was devastating.
Yep.
He was then pitched into the ditch, and the car made another crazy impact with the ground.
Where's the Robert
Finally
Kubica
ending its
crash?
Ride from hell for Block and his co-pilot. This was one of the
Fun, though.
wildest and fastest crashes in WRC history.
This is just
One of the
WRC though, I
series
guess.
of
This isn't the whole like worst rally crashes. WRC. I like what he did there.
beloved drivers. If you haven't seen enough rally
Portugal,
cars
like
rolling for
2009.
one day,
2009, this is
next
old.
one is just for you.
The fact 2009 is old is horrible, by the way.
This absolutely insane crash happened for the
Again, Finland.
Jari-Matti Latvala when he was driving in Portugal in 2009. He was on the limit of the car's performance on one of the most terrifying stages imaginable,
Yep.
with massive falls waiting for any driver that went off the road. And that's exactly what Latvala did. In
Yes.
a split second, he smashed into the side of the cliff on
And
his left-hand
goodbye.
side, a crash which on its
Oh, it's this
own
crash.
would
I've seen
be
this crash like
bad,
thousands of
but
times, by the way.
unluckily for Latvala, it shot him across the road.
Yeah, it did.
His car smashed through the barrier and he went straight
The amount
off
of
the
times-
side of the mountain.
The amount of times I've seen a crash just like that is insane.
His car fell a ridiculous height, tumbling down the side of the mountain and hitting off everything in its way. The car took too many hits to count and was completely destroyed.
Yep.
This crash was one for the ages and is every rally driver's worst nightmare.
I'm not surprised.
Finally, this crazy error from Chris Rosenberger
2021.
during Rally Vice in 2021 might just be
Only
the
3 years
most
ago, you know?
stunning crash ever. Driving his Skoda, Rosenberger was attacking
Skoda?
a series of corners hard and took far too
Austrian.
much speed into a tight right-hander. It left him with no way out, and he drove straight off the side of the road at insane speed. In a moment that looked like he was launched off a ramp,
It does.
Rosenberger's car went airborne and flew straight down into a dip in the forest, and the impact was colossal. The front of his car took a horrific blow,
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
stopping off almost all the speed instantly in the worst possible scenario for a crash.
Yeah.
The car then flipped over and hit the ground hard another 5 times, creating one
That
of the
stop
most
is the hardest
unbelievable
part.
crashes ever seen. And with this smashed up Skoda,
That is
these were
destroyed.
the worst rally crashes in history. Please leave a comment and let us know which crash you thought was the worst, and tell us if we missed any.
I would say the Robert Kubica crash is worse. Obviously, it wasn't WRC. But if you obviously know about the Robert Kubica story, you know that obviously that crash ruined his career completely. So this was, was it February 2011 he had this crash? Was supposed to be a Ferrari driver in 2012 in F1 and had the rally crash, ruined his career, left him with injuries for the rest of his permanent injuries. It's one of the biggest what ifs in, I guess, racing, really, Robert Kubica. But no, I would say that was missing. But obviously, it's not WRC, so I don't know if it would count. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe with that. Check out these videos, see if you want to see anything else on this channel, and subscribe right there. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.